Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I'm Tony Gerdeman here for the second show in a row by myself. Breaking news, 11 o'clock at night, North Carolina defensive end Beau Atkinson has committed to Ohio State per on 3. And this was the one the Buckeyes have been waiting for at defensive end, a fourth-year junior, a big guy, 6'5", 6'6", 265, about what you would want as a strong side defensive end who can hold up against the run. But he can also get after the quarterback. Last year, 7.5 sacks with 12 tackles for loss. And I've said this on previous shows. The 7.5 sacks are what I believe Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson have combined for basically in their careers together. And so you've added a very good player, an experienced player. Last year, along with those tackles for loss and sacks, 35 tackles and 5 quarterback hurries as a redshirt sophomore. And the year before that, in 2023, as a redshirt freshman, 19 tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, 3 quarterback hurries, and a forced fumble. So this has been a productive player since he started playing. And, he's originally from Raleigh, North Carolina, a 4-star guy, number 249 player in the class, number 22 defensive end in the 22 recruiting class, and is now joining a roster with 4 defensive ends that are expecting to play this year. And I think this is interesting that this was certainly Larry Johnson would have loved to have added some defensive tackles, and they're still technically time. The portal doesn't close until the 25th, and you can jump into the portal until the 25th, and then you can stay there for a little while and then still find your place. You don't have to land anywhere by the 25th. You just have to be in the portal. And so now you've got Kenyatta Jackson and Caden Curry, the 2 leaders of the room. And from talking to players, Kenyatta Jackson is one of the leaders of the defense, and he's a 4th-year junior, redshirted as a true freshman. Caden Curry is a true senior this year. Boy, time has flown for him. He's a 4th-year guy. And you've added Logan George from Idaho State, who had 18 tackles for loss and about 7 sacks last year, playing in a defense where he was on a 3-man line, and asked to do some different things than he'll be asked to do at Ohio State. Then, of course, C.J. Hicks moving from linebacker to defensive end. All 4 of those guys are expecting to play, and Beau Atkinson isn't transferring here not expecting to play. And I think one of the interesting things about all 5 of these guys, they're all 4th-year players. Not only Curry and C.J. Hicks are true seniors, so everybody else has another year if they want it. But now you've added a guy, and the thing when Ohio State goes into the portal, generally they'll take the temperature of the room, literally, figuratively, in terms of you want to bring in, Larry Johnson talks to his guys like, hey, we'd like to bring in this guy. What do you think? And they'll get feedback. And, if it's something that doesn't seem to be a good idea, I don't know if the players will win out, but generally there will be some conversation. And so with those 4 guys, you add in Beau Atkinson, you'd hope, if you're an Ohio State fan, that will allow them to do some different things on the defensive line, overcome some shortfalls on the interior. As I said, Beau Atkinson's a big kid, so he could probably play on the inside on passing downs and help you out there and steal some snaps that way, whether that's 3rd and 7 or 2nd and 18, things like that. And, he's been productive. He's been a pretty disciplined player. I'm looking forward to watching more of him. And this is a guy that has been productive his entire career. And Ohio State needs production. I know everybody likes Kenyatta Jackson, Caden Curry, and C.J. Hicks, and Logan George, but none of them have done it at this level as starters. And, with Kenyatta Jackson, everybody's very confident. His old teammates talking to his teammates at the draft or at the combine, they're very high on him. Ty Hamilton was talking to me about how much of a leader he is and how he's going to be one of the leaders of this defense. And that's a defense with Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs on it. So when you're talking about Kenyatta Jackson being in that group, that speaks a lot. That says a lot to me. And so I have high expectations of Kenyatta Jackson, but he's never done it. We've seen glimpses, but it's been in, 15 or 20 snaps here or there. Now you're going to ask him, well, shoot, we don't even know what they're going to ask. What does this rotation look like? Because they had 5 defensive ends they liked last year, including Mitchell Melton, and you really didn't see much of Mitchell Melton. So you wonder, are there enough snaps to go around for all 5 of these guys, or which of these 5 becomes Mitchell Melton? And based on the fact that Mitchell Melton came to Ohio State as a linebacker and moved to defensive end, I think it's easy to draw the conclusion that maybe C.J. Hicks will be that guy. But I also think this is Ohio State not only hedging their bet, because I do think they're hedging their bets on what this defensive end group can do. Like I said, they like him, but they like him a lot better now with Beau Atkinson. So you're raising the talent level of the room. So if things don't go as well as you had hoped, now you're a little bit better because you brought in Beau Atkinson. However, if things are great with everybody, now you have this menagerie of just, the best kind of defensive end depth you could ever want. And you could play them all because they're going to be expected to be a bunch of games to play this year. And so we'll see what else they can do in the portal. They're still looking, at some, I would say, lower level defensive tackles for depth. But again, what you bring in, you might chase somebody away. And if you're not going to bring in somebody like Beau Atkinson, then what's the point of bringing somebody in who is about the same level as somebody that would be chased away? And so it will be interesting to see what happens here. Like I said, the portal opens or closes on the 25th. Ohio State to this point has only lost, I believe, 4 players, and they're all former or current walk-ons. So they've had now a week to hit the portal, and only 4 of them have done that. Now, this is also the biggest player they've brought in. So if somebody's going to do it, now this is going to be a situation where is somebody going to see snaps taken away from them, or will they view this as snaps being taken away from them? So will there be a response? But it's the age of the portal. It's the week of the portal. Things are going to still, it's winding down, but there's still going to be some action here around college football in general as a whole. So there you go. Beau Atkinson to the Buckeyes. Huge get, big need, at least in terms of production and experience. And so there you go. If you want to hit the bell, hit the thumbs up. It's a late night, and we wanted to get this out for you. We would appreciate that. And of course, you can always find us talking about this and many other things at BuckeyeHuddle.com and message board there presented by Jeff Ruby's Columbus. So thank you all for tuning in, and we'll talk to you guys later.